But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings. Here's what Cheryl Swoops had to say. Look at this quote. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings, end quote.
It's outrageous. This is the WNBA, a league built on competition, respect, and recognition of greatness. And yet, when WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops, one of the most decorated athletes in the sport's history, gets on her platform, she conveniently forgets to mention the rising star, Caitlin Clark, a player who's not just elevating her team but shattering records in attendance and viewership. This isn't an oversight, it's a statement, and that statement reeks of something more than just an innocent mistake. When someone as respected as Cheryl Swoops dismisses a player like Clark, who is transforming the league and driving massive attention to women's basketball, what message does that send? It doesn't just spark controversy, it ignites it. The silence speaks louder than any words, and it validates the whispers that there's something deeper at play here, perhaps resentment or discomfort with the attention Clark is receiving. In a league that needs every ounce of buzz to grow, ignoring a player like Caitlin Clark isn't just wrong, it's insane. Cheryl, you know better than this. You were once in her shoes, a star pushing boundaries. You should be celebrating Clark, not omitting her. This is how the seeds of division are planted. And if anyone's feeling the hate, it's Caitlin Clark, who just wants to ball and elevate the sport. This isn't just a debate anymore. This is the firestorm that will define the next chapter of the WNBA.
So no Caitlin Clark. Cheryl Swoops. No Caitlin Clark. Respectfully, Cheryl Swoops, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Caitlin Clark, because that gives fodder to those who believe she's being hated on and ostracized to some degree? Do you realize that, Cheryl Swoops, you're insane to do that? Let me tell you why you're insane to do that. Because Cheryl Swoops, you're one of the greatest players ever in the history of basketball. See, you won a championship in college at Texas Tech. You won 3 Olympic gold medals. You won 4 WNBA championships.
The WNBA is on fire, breaking records left and right, and yet we have legends like Cheryl Swoops who somehow managed to gloss over the very player driving this buzz. On her podcast, Queens of the Court, Swoops praised everyone on the Indiana Fever except Caitlin Clark. Lexi Hall, sure. Kelsey Mitchell, absolutely. Aaliyah Boston, of course. But Caitlin Clark, the sensational rookie who's leading the league in assists and electrifying fans every night, not a word. This isn't just an omission, it's an insult. Swoops' comments only fuel the flames of those who think there's a deliberate effort to downplay Clark's impact. You don't just forget a player like Caitlin Clark. Not when she's the one pushing the WNBA into the spotlight and bringing unprecedented attention to the league. Cheryl, you know basketball inside and out. There's no way you accidentally left Clark out of that conversation. This looks intentional, and it stinks of jealousy or resentment towards the rising star who's changing the game. Ignoring Caitlin Clark doesn't just hurt her, it hurts the league. The WNBA needs all the star power it can get, and Clark is the future. This is bigger than personal preferences, this is about the evolution of the game. Cheryl Swoops, you should be leading the charge in celebrating that, not stifling it.
The Indiana Fever, stop it! You know that, stop it! And then y'all wonder, what happened? See, remember when I was on the air on ESPN and I got into it with Monica McNutt? Stephen A, I'm talking to you, Stephen A, if you had promoted the WNBA more, if you had talked about it more, they would have played more games. Like I had the power to go up to ESPN and say, directors and producers and cameramen and everybody else flocked to the WNBA at the time when it wasn't nearly as popular as it was today. That's what Monica McNutt accused me of, but it's okay. It's just a disagreement. See, y'all act like there's some buzz and it's a problem. No, it's a debate show. She has her opinion, I have mine. I happen to believe she was wrong. I happen to believe I was right. And I happen to believe the facts have shown that I was right.
Sheryl Swoopes, you dropped that soliloquy about the Indiana Fever and conveniently left out Caitlin Clark. You know exactly what you're doing. This isn't just a debate anymore, it's a pattern. And then people wonder what happened, why the conversation around the WNBA gets so heated. Remember when I was on ESPN and got into it with Monica McNutt? She threw accusations at me, claiming that if I had promoted the WNBA more, if I had talked about it more, they would have played more games. As if I had the power to single-handedly steer the entire direction of ESPN to focus on the WNBA when it wasn't nearly as popular back then. But here's the thing, it's okay. It's just a disagreement. People act like some buzz is a problem when it's exactly what this league needs. Monica had her opinion and I had mine. I still believe she was wrong, and I believe the facts back me up. Look at the attendance numbers for Team USA. The WNBA didn't get this kind of traction overnight. It took time, effort, and yes, players like Caitlin Clark. But the point is, this debates like these are what fuel the fire and push the WNBA forward. So stop pretending it's just about opinions, it's about growth, it's about progress, and it's about finally giving this league the attention it deserves.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever in their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million. On Ion! On Ion!
Let's not kid ourselves. If Caitlin Clark had been on that team, we would have seen something entirely different. The buzz, the excitement, the national broadcast viewership would have skyrocketed. Look at the numbers right now. What are we talking about here? The first game drew what, 1.219 million viewers? And the game after that dropped to 485,000? But then, the Indiana Fever game against the Minnesota Lynx pulls in 1.29 million viewers on Ion. This isn't just a coincidence, it's a clear indicator that Caitlin Clark is a draw. She's box office. Imagine the difference in those Olympic viewership numbers if Clark had been on that roster. The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark brings the heat, she brings the eyes, and she brings the attention that this sport desperately needs. It's time to stop acting like she's just another player. She's a force, and ignoring that only hurts the sport. The numbers tell the story. Clark equals viewership, and that equals growth for women's basketball. Period.
How do you do that? I told y'all that. I've argued with the great Andrea Carter, outstanding analyst for ESPN, right here on this podcast. I've argued with Janae Ogumake, who's an outstanding basketball analyst. The two of them together, oh my God, that's an A-team. No doubt about it. Nothing but love for both of them. And Monica McNutt, one of the preeminent voices of the New York Knicks, and what she's doing with her career. They know they got my support, all love. But I'm waiting for you to say I was right. Caitlin Clark can ball. She should have been on Team USA because you needed the marketing buzz. I didn't say she was better than all 12 players that were on the team instead of her. Even though when they almost lost to France, I was getting nervous. Diana Taurasi wasn't on the court. I said, you need somebody that can shoot. And then Copper showed up and was doing her thing, and Ezra Wilson did her thing, and I was good.
Sheryl Swoopes, with all your accomplishments, with your Hall of Fame status, you know better than this. Everywhere you look, the Indiana Fever is breaking records, attendance, viewership, you name it. Yet, when it comes to giving credit where it's due, somehow Caitlin Clark gets left out. It's almost like you're validating every bit of speculation that there's some hate brewing against this rookie sensation. You didn't just forget her, you made a statement, and that statement was loud and clear. You're too smart, too seasoned to make that kind of mistake. Let's be real, Caitlin Clark, as a rookie, is leading the league in assists and driving more attention to the game than we've seen in years. How do you discuss the rise of the Indiana Fever and not mention her? This isn't just about basketball, it's about recognizing the impact someone is having on the league. Ignoring that is more than just oversight, it's disrespect. Caitlin Clark is changing the game, and pretending she isn't is doing a disservice to the very sport you helped build. Cheryl, you're a legend, but this isn't it. It's time to give credit where it's due.
Somebody else had 15. Everybody else had over 20,000 plus. You think that would happen if Caitlin Clark was on that team? You think that would happen if Angel Reese was on that team? But especially Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game. I know the Monica McNutts and others were getting very, very frustrated at all of the buzz that was going in her direction, not to hate on Caitlin Clark in any way, because I'm sure Monica McNutt does not feel that way. She just knows.
I've been saying it, Caitlin Clark can ball, and she should have been on Team USA for the buzz and impact she brings. She's not just a player, she's a movement. When Team USA nearly lost to France, they needed a shooter. A game-changer. Clark was that missing piece. The league needs her, and I'm still waiting for someone to admit I was right. The first game had about 13,000 fans, someone else had 15,000, and the rest had over 20,000. If Caitlin Clark had been on that team, those numbers would have exploded. Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived, but she's only going to get better. What she's done for women's basketball, especially in this country, is nothing short of phenomenal. Cheryl Swoops, no matter how great a player you were, no one should ignore what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game right now. Yes, Monica McNutt and others might get frustrated by all the buzz around Clark, but that's not hate, it's just recognizing the incredible impact Clark is having on the sport. She's a game changer, and the numbers prove it.
Call it the Great White Hope. Call it white being right. Call it whatever you want. See, I'm a person that doesn't, I recognize that reality, but I don't resent it. I figure out ways to do it to my advantage. I ain't apologize for that, Wes. I ain't apologize for that, Grip. I ain't apologize for that, Galen. I ain't apologize for nothing. There are people in our industry who happen to be white that got paid. I ain't mad at them. I'm grateful to them. Thank you for setting the stage. Hell yeah. Ain't hate. Rising tide lifts all boats. Whatever it takes for everybody to get fed, I'm all for it.
I see what's happening, and I'm not mad at it. If people in our industry who happen to be white are getting paid, good for them. I'm grateful because they set the stage, and I'm not here to resent it. This isn't about hate, it's about everyone rising together. Whatever it takes for everybody to get fed, I'm all for it. If you're a WNBA player, this is the game we're playing. Don't hate the system, figure out how to make it work for you.
That's what Angel Reese has done. Angel Reese could play. She was doing good things at LSU. Do y'all notice when she became relevant? When she was waving her hand over her face, mimicking what Caitlin Clark was doing to the competition before she ran into LSU and got bum rushed in the Final Four. That's what made Angel Reese popular. En route to LSU winning the national championship a couple of years ago in women's college basketball. And then we watched Angel Reese and her popularity elevate along with her NIL money and beyond. And we paid attention to her. And then Caitlin Clark took her out. But we still remembered. And then Dawn Staley in South Carolina came along and said, Caitlin Clark, we love you, we appreciate you.
Angel Reese could always play. She was doing great things at LSU. But when did everyone start paying attention? It was when she mimicked Caitlin Clark's iconic hand wave right before LSU stormed through the Final Four to win the national championship. That's what made Reese a star, and her popularity exploded from there, along with her nil deals and beyond. And then yes, Caitlin Clark took her out, but we still remembered Reese. We remembered her flair, her impact, and her rise to fame. Even Dawn Staley at South Carolina recognized Clark's significance, showing her love and appreciation. That's how you make a name for yourself in this game. You seize the moment, just like Angel Reese did.
Championship trophy. What did Dawn Staley do? Celebrated Caitlin Clark. Because she's smart. What did Angel Reese do this year? With all the talk about Caitlin Clark, what does she do? She goes out on the court, she competes against her, and then suddenly they're teammates in the All-Star game, and they get long and slapping high fives when Caitlin Clark delivers an assist to her or something along that line, and everything's cool. Because Angel Reese figured it out. She said, there's a way for me to be the meal ticket too. If I have to use her to help me do it, okay. Because Angel Reese's game clearly is good enough. Her personality clearly is sensational enough. The issue is she wasn't running from it. She embraced it. Cheryl Swoops, take notes. You ain't playing no more.
Dawn Staley celebrated Caitlin Clark because she's smart. And what did Angel Reese do with all the talk about Clark? She competed, then teamed up with her at the All-Star game, slapping high fives. Angel figured it out. Clark brings attention, and Reese used that to her advantage. Her game and personality are more than enough, and she embraced the spotlight. Cheryl Swoops, take notes. You're not playing anymore, but you should be celebrating what's happening, not ignoring it.